Reports suggested that there are a lot of suitors for Marcus Stroman. Why the Mets? Why now? And was there thought in waiting a little bit longer?
Yeah, so I think it just came down to understanding the market. We felt like we had a good handle on the teams that were interested. It started with 8+ and then narrowed that down to 4 teams that had the most interest and a couple of teams on the periphery. And once we had an understanding of what those teams were, where they were framing the value, we started to make offers, and then we got an offer back. And once we got that offer from the Mets, we pushed and systematically went back to other teams to understand if there was more value out there or even similar value. And it was clear that at the moment that was the best deal that we could do. And it was also clear, thankfully, from the other teams that that wasn't going to change much. I mean, certainly you never know, as something could happen in the market and something could change where a player comes off of it, but that goes both ways, right? So we felt as though we had enough information to move.
So if it wasn't going to change much, why now? Did you have a deadline in mind, perhaps maybe to have this done before the upcoming road trip and have at least some business done early?
No, it was really just everything I just said, that we felt as though the communication from the teams that were interested was so clear that we had a very good handle on the market. And you're right, we didn't expect it to change much, so then it becomes how long do you play poker? But we felt as though we had enough information to move.
Some of us suggested that Anthony Kay could join the team if all goes well as early as call-up time this year. Others have suggested, his timeline could be a little more extended. What are you guys expecting from Anthony Kay?
Yeah, really, we haven't thought about exactly when his transition will be. It's more just been about the acquisition, and we're going to get him comfortable here and acclimated to a new organization. It's a lot for a player to go through. We followed him obviously through the draft, through his days in college, and his career professionally has been very good. It's very hard to find guys that check all the boxes to be potential major league starting pitchers, and we certainly got one of those in Anthony Kay, and in Simeon Woods Richardson we feel as though we got one of the most exciting young pitching prospects in baseball. We loved him in the draft. He was the youngest player in the draft. Youth these days is exceptionally valuable, and for more reasons than just athleticism and durability, but it's the opportunity to improve and get better. So he's done that already in his short professional career, and we'll see where it ends up. But exceptionally excited about both of them joining the organization.
All right, so Marcus referred to in his conference call what he called an exit meeting in the clubhouse, where he said a discussion with the coaches and the higher-ups and told them that he didn't like the way some of the stuff went down. Were you in on that conversation?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, I think really just comes down to, first and foremost, let me just say that, Marcus Stroman is exceptional at what he does, and I love the competitor in him. I love to watch him compete. It's going to put a smile on my face as he continues to do that. He's going to go on to do great things and be very durable and be a very good major league piece and starting pitcher. But when any player gets traded, it's always emotional. It was emotional and difficult for Eric Sogard, who's only been with the organization for months. And with Marcus Stroman, who's been here since 2012, from being drafted and helping the major league team in a very short stint and 2.5 years into his career, and then the playoff runs in 15 and watching him through 16. Obviously this year he's been one of the better starting pitchers in baseball. So it's hard. It's a difficult time, and that's what I would say, that it was an emotional time. And the specifics as to why, I'd say you'd have to ask him.
Was that interaction, because you've traded multiple players, you've traded another player that day, was the interaction dissimilar to other interactions you've had in the past?
They're all different, every one of them, every one of them, and some of them I'm exceptionally emotional, and almost all of them. So it's difficult. From my time in professional baseball, the number of player interactions that I've had in delivering either good news. As a farm director, all too often I was delivering the unfortunate news that there were potentials of releases, and I've had so many trade discussions in my whatever it is, 20 years in working in an office. It's the level of emotion is different for every human being and every piece, and there's just so much time and energy that's put into this, and the stakes are so high that it's always going to be emotional.
You know, there were reports about conflicts from past arbitration to the naming of the 2018 opening day starter. Do you feel like your relationship with Marcus Stroman could have been or should have been better? And in the end, did that affect his trade value?
Well, here's what I can tell you is that, you know, my interactions with Marcus, whether it was about pitching on opening day, whether it was about, you know, how we could make our environment better, how we could improve the environment, learning from him and, you know, his process, how exceptional he is with his work ethic and how he recovered from his knee procedure so quickly. You know, I've learned a great deal from him. He is an exceptional professional that has already done great things in this game. And, you know, the interactions over money were usually with his agent. Almost 99% of the time or 100% of the time are with Brody Schofield. So those are the most difficult usually for players. It's hard. The magnitude is high. The stakes are high. And what I can tell you is never personal for me. Never personal. And but it's always emotional. It's just never personal.
Right.
When I've looked at, you know, this potential trade and the eventual trade, the entire time I've thought, and you can tell me where I'm wrong, when this team is good in 2 or 3 years, they're going to be looking for a pitcher that looks a lot like Marcus Stroman. So if the production wasn't the issue, and you've talked about maybe potential fiscal issues, was there ever an option just extending him, even if it was not a price that you're disciplined at, but then pushing this off to the future and seeing if he exceeds expectations or you could recoup more value for him in the future?
Well, the options of extending him we've already talked about, and there's certainly we would never eliminate re-signing him when he's a free agent. So, you know, very difficult decision to trade him. We felt as though that lining up younger pitching and providing more depth for us to line up on a timeline that gives us more flexibility. Right now, to play with alongside of Nate Pearson, alongside of Julian Merriweather, Sean Reed-Foley, Ryan Barucki, and Jacob Waguespack, and the young pitchers we have coming from the recent acquisition of Manoah, the recent acquisition of Williams, lining up Simeon Woods-Richardson with those individuals, that just provide us greater depth. And, you know, a tough decision, never an easy one, but felt like it was best for the organization.